With Gina.
The news with Gina Grad.
We're looking at Fred Ward and John Bernthal. I was like, that guy's his son. He's his son.
Yeah.
What's Fred Ward? 70? This guy's 36. I'm like, he's got to be his son. They look exactly the same, like the same nose
same
and eyes and mouth. Like they have the same everything. Ward is 76. Bernthal's 42. Like it'd be perfect. He had him when he was 34 years old, right?
Easy.
No relationship, I guess. Anyway.
That movie's going to come out next year.
Fred Ward. All right.
So this is a little breaking today. The AP reports that the former Florida deputy who failed to confront a gunman during last year's Parkland school massacre was arrested Tuesday on 11 criminal charges related to his actions. This is what the prosecutors announced. So Broward State Attorney Mike Satz said in a statement that the 56-year-old Scott Peterson, different Scott Peterson, faces child neglect, culpable negligence, and perjury charges that carry a combined potential prison sentence of 100 years. Peterson, then a Broward deputy, was on duty on the school as the school resource officer during that February 2018 shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, but never went inside while bullets were flying. 17 people died, 17 were wounded. Peterson's bail set to $102,000 apparently, and once released, he'll be wearing a GPS monitor, surrender his passport. He'll be prohibited from possessing a firearm. So his story kind of got lost in the shuffle. It had been talked about, and now it's back.
Well, good. I'm not normally like, I get cops and it's dangerous and everyone's freaked out and everyone's sort of plan is just stay put till the backup arrives. But look, if you're a cop and you're on a campus and that's kind of your job, you have nothing to do for 15 years and you just get paid every single day. You know, it's like, I think there's other jobs.
Occasionally break up a fight. But
I mean, it's like, if you have a job and your job's roofer or your job's drive for UPS or gay porn, the aforementioned, you got to go to work every day. You just got to roof every day. But it's like,
you bust your ass.
This is a kind of a job. This job is like, you know what? You're going to get paid full fare. And your job is to watch the UPS truck. You just watch it. Just make sure nothing happens to the UPS truck.
Make sure it comes around every day.
And you can put together 44 years of watching a UPS truck and no one could ever try to steal it. And you just get your watch, your gold-plated watch, and go home. But here's the deal. If the shit goes down, you're going to get paid for days and days and weeks and years of not doing anything. Just literally just walking around. But if the shit goes down, you are going to go from 0 to 1,000 miles an hour. Like, it's not going to be, well, the guy who was watching the UPS truck had to get up and shoo the birds away from it. Right. No, bullets are going to be flying. But that's part of the deal. Part of the deal is it's going to happen, and you need to enter the fray. And it's going to go against every bit of your fiber and your being. As a matter of fact, you know what they should do? They should hire these guys, put them outside the hall, give it like 3 weeks, and at some point get in there with a bunch of blanks and just stand somewhere and start firing at them, people screaming. And if those guys do a shoulder roll and hide behind the dumpster, you're out.
Yeah.
You're out.
It's good.
It's not exactly a rich man, poor man, but the only other job I can think of that seems like that is anesthesiologist. You chill for a few hours while somebody sleeps, and God forbid nothing goes wrong, and you go home. But somebody could stop breathing.
There's a little monitoring, but yeah. So, look, I don't like this world, but this guy needed to rush in and disrupt things.
Right.
He needed guns ablazing, and the fact that he didn't, there's a manslaughter aspect to this.
Of almost 100 years. So we'll see what happens. I actually didn't realize this. I do have a lot of court news today. Kevin Spacey made a surprise court appearance Monday as his lawyer tried to get his groping case thrown out. The actor is accused of inappropriately touching an 18-year-old.
He had a
walk on under 5. 3 years ago in Nantucket, is him walking into the courtroom, his attorney Alan Jackson requested a complete and unaltered copy from the accuser's cell phone, which he says,
strikes me, my entire childhood, I never saw anyone drinking coffee outside of their kitchen. Like when you were a kid, people drank coffee at the cooked at the table, at the breakfast table, and then they had to go to work. And
maybe
it was like,
at the desk, work.
It's like, put that cup down and leave. Now, everyone is walking in and out of court. Everyone who's filmed walking down the street, everyone has a coffee in their hand. And it's bizarre because it's a little intimate. Like when I was a kid, you're in your bathrobe, you're sitting at the table, the kids, the husband, or whatever, you're drinking the coffee. And then the guy would do that move that they did in all those 70s and 80s movies where he was like drinking his coffee and the horn would honk outside and he'd go, he'd make that noise. He'd like take one last sip and he'd set it down or he'd hand it to his wife and then he'd go rushing out the door.
He'd crane his neck a little bit.
Yeah, there was no way to transport the coffee outside of the house. And also, what do you need your coffee for? You're inside of the house. It's just ubiquitous. He's probably walking. These guys will walk in the courtroom at noon, at 4 in the afternoon, at 10 a.m. It's just coffee.
Yep. I also noticed that, and this might be a little bit of the opposite of what you're saying because it is intimate, but I thought, is that coffee in his hand to make him look casual? Because he looks very casual, breezing in with his cup of coffee.
Yeah. I don't know. I think everyone gets them, and then everyone who picks him up already stopped by Starbucks before they picked him up.
Got him his double foam latte.
But anyway.
So
he's groping?
Yeah, they want that cell phone from the accuser, which he says has texts referring to the young man's frat boy activities and other potential evidence. Jackson, the lawyer...
What percentage of groping is outside of clothing? Is it
I would imagine
most
quite a
all
bit.
of it?
Most, yeah. So if the clothes are off, if the clothes are off, that reveals some kind of cooperation, you know what I mean?
Usually consensual.
Usually, yeah, exactly. If it's got to that point, usually.
Gone right.
Grope.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So they're also, they said the teen and his mother, who's a former Boston TV anchor, Heather Unruh, erased the text before handing the phone over to police. In January, Spacey pleaded not guilty to a charge of the incident of assault and battery. Next hearing, July 8th. Spacey has skipped most of the hearings, but he came out today, wanted to show his face.
You know, the thing about the difference between sort of athletes and actors is we don't really need actors. Like, we can make movies without Kevin Spacey. We can make them
without people.
We can make them without people. We can do anything we want. If LeBron James is 24 and gets embroiled in whatever, we got to get it fixed fast because he's got to get back out there because there's only so many of him.
Right.
It's kind of a Michael Jackson thing. Like, actors are like, you know, I like Kevin Spacey. Yeah. I thought he was a talented actor. It's not going to affect my movie-going schedule.
Yeah. Get another Kevin Spacey type.
Yeah. You want a job. Here's where you want it. You want a job. Like, if you're going to be groping, you want a job that's really low down the totem pole, like long-haul truck driver where no one really cares. Right. Like, he was busted for groping. That's a plus.
Get
him in that cap.
That's it?
Right. There's that. Or you want to be your kind of LeBron James thing where it's like, hey, man, you're not going to miss a lot of games because we can't afford to have you sitting out 3 seasons.
So here's 6 figures.
Yeah. Well, let's stick with the court desk for a little bit because Leslie Van Houten, who was a Charles Manson former follower.
I think she's a Houten.
Is it Houten? Okay. Convicted in the 1969 killing spree, was denied parole for the 3rd time in 3 years on Monday. This is, you could thank Newsom for that, by the way. California board in January recommended parole for Van Houten, but Newsom, California Governor Gavin Newsom, he denied it.
She was one of the ones who did the killing.
Yeah,
right?
I have a clip and she'll tell you all about it. She's 69 now. She was 19 when she met Manson, became part of the cult. So August 10th, 1969, she and other members of the Manson family, they stabbed Leno and Rosemary LaBianca to death in their home in L.A., and she was arrested that November. Van Houten was sentenced to death in 71, but 1 year later, the death penalty was overturned, so it didn't end up mattering. This is an interview, I think, from 1994 with Larry King, and here she's describing the actual stabbing of Rosemary LaBianca.
Was she killed eventually?
She was stabbed. I went and I called Tex, and I said that we weren't able to kill her. And then Tex went in the bedroom, and Patton went into the living room, and I went and I stood in the hallway. And then Tex turned me around, and he handed me a knife, and he said, "Do something." And so I went in, and Mrs. LaBianca was laying on the floor, and I stabbed her.
Where?
In the lower back.
Delightful.
Yeah.
So first things,
she'll be awarded.
We had the death penalty. She got it, and then we turned it over. But she's grandfathered in.
Yeah. That was what I was thinking too.
So number one, just kill him. Okay, you think it's a good idea? Kill him. Tex Watkins, or Watson.
Watson.
Tex Watson has had 4 kids from prison. So
Damn impressive.
that delightful man has sired 4.
One of them, John Bernthal.
Has multiple kids from the joint after this.
Manza got married.
Yeah, just start killing people. I don't know. She probably found Jesus Christ and blah, blah, blah.
They said she's become this self-help guru. She earned a bachelor's degree, all this stuff. And to Gavin Newsom's credit, he said, good, well, keep it, stay in there.
What? Yeah. Just because I hate Gavin Newsom, I think his figuring is this would look horrible for him to let out, especially with this movie coming out about now.
Yeah.
She was at the
Good
premiere.
publicity.
She was at the Burbank.
Doing the step and repeat?
Yeah, doing the step and repeat. Yeah, Tex had like 4 kids. Ugh. Also, the LaBiancas are weird because I always feel it's so weird with like Abigail Folger and people like that. First off, anyone who gets killed as an heir to the whatever throne, the Folger throne, like, oh man, that was a rich young chick. Also, Abigail Folger was probably 27, just young. And she's just randomly like partying with people when the shit goes down. And then the LaBiancas.
They're grocers.
Yeah, I don't think they had anything to do with anything. That was just part of the race war.
Yeah. Well, they kind of just, they staked him out in the hills. And
yeah, but they're just trying to get the race war going. Like, and I don't even. It didn't seem to be exceedingly rich, like not wealthy. Well,
no, they were well-to-do and they lived, in the hills or whatever.
Yeah, so it just seemed very random to go in there and kill that group.
That is the you mentioned it, but it's the not reported people. It's been lost to history a little bit that Charles Manson was insane, but he was just a racist. Like he wanted to make it seem as though black people had done this, and so there'd be a race war, and the black people would kill in his mind.
And they'd hide out in the desert.
Exactly, the black people would kill all the white people, and then when they were the only ones left, the black people, they wouldn't be competent enough to rule the world, and thus Charles Manson and his cult would take over. That was his master plan. What the Beatles told him to do.
Right. Yeah. Also, he never actually went to either one of the murder sites, which is...
That was why it was a groundbreaking case. They charged him for murder, but he didn't have a weapon. He wasn't at the site.
Yeah, charisma to the first degree. Got a bunch of hot 19-year-olds killing for you?
Guilty of cult of personality.
Yeah, like when I was 23 and I told a hot 19-year-old, as long as you got the fridge open, could you get me a Tecate? They'd go, get it yourself. Yeah. But if I said stab a stranger to death, they'd be, fuck you.
Multiple strangers.
Yeah, I don't think they would have fallen for that.
I don't think I could have. I didn't have that kind of charisma.
Yeah.
Also, I always joke, but it had to be true. Like, it's free love. They're living at Spawn Ranch. There's a new trainload of fresh 19-year-old hot runaways willing to do anything for you. Obviously, they're doing anything for you. They're going up and killing random people. And they must be having just crazed 70s orgies over there, right? I mean, it's like sex. It's like a new batch, a new harem rolls off the bus like every Wednesday, and you get to have sex with them in your western town that you're living in for free. There had to be a third horny Manson family member, dude. Like, we know Tex, and we know Charlie, but there had to be Chad, like a third one.
Chad Manson?
Chad... Well, family member, and like Chad, like they get around a campfire one night, and like, look, Charlie's like, here's what we're gonna do, man. We're gonna get Tex, we're gonna get the girls, we're gonna go up in the hills, and I'm like, hold on, I was getting a blowjob. What were you saying? We're going up in the hills. We're gonna stab people.
We're gonna slaughter all the piggies. We're gonna start a race war.
Are we out of runaways to bang?
No, they're the ones that are gonna do the killings. Well, our hands are clean.
Hold on, Charles. Look, I love your music.
Damn right.
We get to bang fresh runaways.
And how?
Every single Wednesday when a new bumper crop of them is dropped off on this, we get to live on a ranch for free.
It's hard to keep up.
We have sex for free. Every once in a while, we send the chicks down to the Gelsons to rob it and bring us home some food, but that's up. If you send them up the hills to stab everybody,
it'll be perfect. That's what you're about to say? I bet you're about to say.
Are you done being blown?
Far from it. It's Wednesday, after all.
I'm saying, as Chad Manson, we got a pretty good thing going here. We're living rent-free. We're banging groupie runaways that are 19 and eager to please. I know they'll do anything because they'll go up to the hills and stab strangers. Why don't we just ride this wave a little longer?
Chad, I appreciate your perspective as much as I appreciate you taking my last name. We got to order these girls to kill.
Okay.
How else would we know that they love us?
How long are we going to live at this? Yeah, sorry.
Charles, I'm
sorry, Runaway.
I just got here. I just want to know if you needed anything, and I mean anything.
Well, did you see what I'm talking
Are you
about?
thinking what I'm thinking?
I'm not thinking.
On three, let's tell her what we want.
All right.
1, 2, 3. Rituals to
job.
killings.
Okay, I'll go get
What?
my knife.
No, we're going to get the fuzz down on us, man. We're smoking reefer and getting blown right now.
How else would we know that they love us aside from the constant blowjobs?
Well, that's a tell.
I mean, it's an indicator. I wouldn't say it's ironclad.
All right.
That's good.
There had to be some of those conversations,
Yeah.
right?
Some cool-headed member.
All right.
The level-headed Manson family member.
Let's do another.
All right.
Dennis.
Hopper.
No, the Beach Boy, Dennis Wilson.
Oh,
Dennis
yeah.
Wilson.
Probably
That's
the lover.
right.
I'm
He was
outta
up
here.
there.
Right.
All right. Well, lastly, from the court desk, the State Bar of California filed to place attorney
Kim. Oh, no.
Michael Avenatti on involuntary inactive status on Monday. What does that mean? Well, apparently that's the first move when you're trying to disbar somebody. The filing comes after Avenatti was indicted on 36 counts by a federal jury in California. The charges included embezzlement, wire fraud, tax evasion, bankruptcy fraud, bank fraud, connected to his alleged theft of tens of millions of dollars from clients. And meanwhile, in New York, Avenatti is accused of attempting to extort more than $20 million from Nike and stealing about $300,000 from a book advance from Stormy Daniels.
Speaking of Garrigus, I was walking Phil yesterday. I saw Paulette Garrigus, who she's a satellite that circumnavigates the neighborhood on foot all day, every day. And you take a walk around my neighborhood, you'll run into Mark's wife. Boy, you want to talk about someone I could hang with. She's walking down the street, just a side street. She's walking toward me. She has in her hand a piece of foam, small piece of foam, looks like it's been soaked in oil, and then a piece of like napkin or paper towel or something. Like, we're talking about trash, but we're not talking about aluminum can that was empty. We're talking about sort of dirty trash. There's that kind of street
filthy,
trash that's like a weird straw that's been in someone's
Slimy.
mouth.
I would tell Tetsuo not to touch it.
Right. She has both pieces of trash in her hand. She is a mile away from her house. And I go, what do you got there? And she's like, oh, I hate it when people litter.
Wow.
And there's no trash can in sight either.
Wow.
It's not
She's
trash
mulling
day.
it.
There's
Walking
nothing.
it.
She's taking a walk, and as she walks, she's going pure catfish, just picking up stuff from the ground, holding it in her hands, and walk, not with like a napkin around it. She doesn't have a Ziploc bag. She's just holding it in her hand, and she's going to walk another half mile till she comes upon a trash can. And I thought, I love that woman. Wow. That's all. By the way, in the department of all you need to know, that's all
it.
you need to know. That is all you need to know.
It's an indicator.
All right, let's do one more, Gina Graham.
All right. Well, here's the desk of reboots that nobody asked for. Deadline reports that another classic sitcom is eyeing a return with its original star. UCP is developing Punky Brewster, a sequel.
What is UCP?
Universal. They are wanting to reboot Punky Brewster. That was from 1984.
With Soleil Moon
NBC
Frye?
sitcom. Hold on. With Soleil Moon Frye set to reprise her role as Punky.
I think it was my first crush.
Yeah, this is
When I was
most
like
boys'
7.
first crush. The original multi-camera series centered on a little young Punky who was raised by her foster dad. And in the reboot, she is now a single mother of 3, trying to get her life back on track when she meets a young girl who reminds her a lot of a young Punky.
Jesus.
Don't know that we need to redo everything all the time, but there is value in a name, and that's kind of where we're at. And I don't want to be a hypocrite because in the world of like automotive, like when Bugatti goes away for a couple of decades and then Bugatti comes back with a supercar, I'm like, oh, I like that there's a Bugatti, a modern day. I like that my son knows what a Bugatti is. Triumph kind of does that with motorcycles. They get back with their heritage and whatever.
I was going to say there's heritage there.
Yeah, I've deemed that as healthy, but somehow this is artistic, so I've deemed it as lazy.
Well, it also seems like, who are the kids that were super into Punky Brewster who now have kids? So who's this going to be nostalgic for, and they can indoctrinate the new generation? Mm-hmm. So I'll look forward to that.
All right, let's bring it home.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.